to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Khan.
Here.
Reinhardt.
Here.
Watkins.
Here.
Johannes.
Present.
Earl.
Here.
Public comments.
I'm going to jump in here on this one. Most of you know that the former deputy chief, Brad, retired, and we replaced him with Frank Barker. He is now official as of last week. He's retired from the sheriff's department, and he's here. Most everybody probably knows him, but if you don't, introduce yourself.
Frank, you're stuck with me.
He is here full time and covering days, and I'm putting him to work. So I wanted him to come to the council meeting, kind of experience it, kind of know who the council is, and you guys can kind of put his face to it because he's been kind of here and there for the last 3 months, but he's here totally now. So
Officially stuck.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Yep, welcome. We're happy to have you.
I appreciate being here. It's a good opportunity.
But he was in the reserves with me and Brad back in the early 90s. He lived here for a number of years. He written in the city, and so he's been around. So he knows the area, knows he's got kids in the school system. So he's vested. We got one kid.
I don't think I could handle more than one.
But he's vested, so he's got a commitment to the community like the rest of us do. So
We've come with a lot of experience and
yes,
a lot of knowledge. You actually, how much time did you spend here in Bronson prior to going to the county?
I was reserve here for 6 years,
6 years?
and then I've worked part-time off and on here since Dick was chief.
you probably got 10 years probably part time. You got 6. It's just this last stretch
Yeah.
because you left and come back a couple times when you had availability. So yeah, so he's been around. So he's very familiar with the department and the town. And
I've lived over here since '98. My wife grew up here. My daughter goes to school here. Yeah, Bronson's become my community a long time ago.
he was originally from Quincy.
Don't hold that against me.
But that's all I have. I just wanted to get that up front. So
Nice to meet y'all.
Thank you.
Okay. On the consent agenda. Brandon, anything? Nothing to add to that. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? New business. Traffic control order number 4, the fire lane designation on North Street.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. After receiving complaints about vehicle parking on city property on North Street between Baroni's Hardware Barn and buildings on North Madison Street, 120 North and 122 North Madison Street, staff researched the issue. Chief Johnson, Chief Wilbur, Joe Swain, and myself met on site to discuss the issue and determined that this land should be no parking and marked as a fire lane. Without a fire lane on this parcel, there's very little space for fighting downtown fires with the alley being so narrow. In your packet is a traffic control order making this change and a site map that shows the proposed fire lane area. And staff is recommending approval of the traffic control order. Any questions?
Would you like to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Council goal setting for 2023-24 budget.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. In anticipation of the upcoming 23-24 budget, I reviewed the previous goals that were included in the current budget. For this budget year, I added some goals around the additional help we will have with the fellow that's coming on board, including projects such as applying for Parks and Rec grants and working on the master plan update. Looking for direction from council on if there's anything that you would like to have added or amended on those goals. I provided a marked up copy in your packet as well as a clean copy so you can see the changes.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approve City Hall generator.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. The city was recently informed that we did not receive the Michigan Township Participating Plan Risk Reduction Grant, which is the grant through our property and liability insurance carrier, which we applied in the fall of 2022. This is the first time we've not received this grant when we've applied. The next round is actually due March 15th and is open now. The city could resubmit this project for funding. I thought I would bring this to council to see if you want to decide to wait and try for the grant again, or if you want to just move forward with the low bidder. The low bidder was Alliance Electric at $10,290. That quote was from November, and I verified that they would still honor that price. Right now, insulation is probably out about 4 or 5 months, so I just wanted to see if applying for the grant would probably delay it another 3-4 months or so. So we're probably looking at December installation.
Now, a question on that is, if council goes ahead and approves the purchase for this generator right now, does that mean we cannot apply for the grant? Because if we're 4 to 5 months out right now, if we get that grant, how, you see what I'm saying? I mean, it could use to help benefit that.
You're technically not supposed to do that, because that basically shows you have the money to go forward with it. So, I mean, you can do it, but just make sure.
Okay. I mean, I'm just curious on that, so. Anybody else have any other questions on that?
And is this the same company we used to do one?
No, I think we used Ludwig for that. Wasn't that right, Steve?
I think it was Ludwig, yeah.
Yeah. We haven't used Alliance Electric before, but staff has worked with them in the past. The clerk has.
I'd like to see us wait and take another shot at the grant.
Yes, I'm thinking too.
Is it gonna be a problem? We get a storm like we did a couple years ago, we're without power for a week. What does that do? Because you're talking December.
I'm rolling the dice.
Are there other projects we can apply for that same grant with if we didn't use it towards that?
Yeah, I'm sure we can find something.
And I think Matt made a good point though. We wait, I mean, we could get a big storm in March and knock out like we did,
We'd still be
We're almost a week out.
Yeah, in March.
But still, when you get into
Yeah.
the peak season, July, August,
Yeah.
and a month without, or a week without power. I
Like
know I struggle at home, with a little generator, just keeping the house going for a week.
Yeah.
Can't imagine the city not being operational for a week.
I was that way a couple years ago.
I was
2 years
on
in a row.
council.
The
That was my
amazing
time
thing
off.
is I've been here all my life.
2 years in a row
They say
we've
they
had-
have it twice, and it's just recently.
Yeah.
Other than that, never saw that happen.
I would propose that we go ahead and spend the money and do it. If it's in, I mean, if we have money in the budget for, not specific for this, but if there's money in the fund.
So you're making a motion?
No, I'm just making a recommendation.
I'm
We're just in discussion here.
So I guess the other question is, I know we've got some history with Alliance, obviously some of the staff has used them before, but if Ludwig did the other one, did we reach back out to them and say, you know, you're keeping it local for one, with Ludwig here in town, and say, look, you know, can you do it for this? And
That's called shopping, and I hate that.
Yeah.
Say, that's kind of,
It makes it a
I
little
mean,
unfair.
that bid process.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do a lot of bidding of projects, and I don't like shopping.
I have her on the phone.
That's
She
just
wants
not
to know
fair.
if
I
we
mean,
can
these
hear
guys
the dog
go out
in the
there, they
backyard,
put an
there's
honest
a
number
padlock on the
together.
gate.
right, no, I get it. I get
She's
it.
at work right now. And it's not fair to the other company when you go back to the first one and say, well, so-and-so on the video, and, you know, can you drop the price? Yeah, it's good for the city, but it's not good business.
Right.
I would echo that.
Any other questions? Anybody wanna make a motion to either go for the generator or wait for the grant?
I would make a motion that the city go ahead, or we go ahead and approve this. I just see it as good business practice for the city to have power when it's needed.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I could still try to submit a grant for it, see what happens.
Just again, play by the rules.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Parks and Recreation grant discussion.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. The Michigan Department of Natural Resources has created a grant utilizing ARPA funds for parks and recreation projects. This is a new grant, the Spark grant, for a limited time. There's gonna be 3 rounds for a total of $65 million. Round 1 had 462 applicants and only 21 projects were awarded, totaling just over 14 million. The DNR received requests for over 280 million. In order to prepare to submit this grant and others, we should have basically a site plan or design ready to go for 1 or 2 projects. The results of the recently adopted 5-year Parks and Rec Master Plan show the highest scoring projects and amenities are first the walking path or bike path, a splash pad, or a dog park. And when you look at individual parks, these projects scored the highest, including a Greenwald Park splash pad, Douglas Park bathroom and splash pad, Kiwanis walking paths and new playground equipment. And as part of the survey, we also asked, are you in favor of developing the old rail bed into a trail? And 93% of respondents said that they would like to see that happen. So I think we need to identify 1 or 2 projects and prioritize them so that we're ready for the next round of funds and to develop a work plan and design for these projects.
I don't see Kiwanis to see how much traffic or how many kids there. I do see Douglas Park from my back door, and it doesn't get a lot of activity.
Right.
Yeah, I
Seems
would
like
say,
a bathroom there would be something that would be, should be high on the list.
Do you think it would generate more kids going there to play in Douglas though?
Well,
'Cause I
Douglas
don't-
Park used to be one that was the most used.
I very seldom see kids there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's not much down
I,
there.
I can see it from my back door, sitting on the back porch, and I see very few.
Do they
kids.
still run the summer park program out of there?
yes,
That's what I thought. That's, cause they used to get a lot of kids there, I know.
I think a lot of us moved down to Ryan. Ryan school's getting a lot of them through the summer down there. See a lot of kids.
I just wanna see us spend money where it's gonna be the most used by the kids, and and that's just me, you know, when I'm sitting on the back porch, and most times that's after 5 o'clock at night, that, you know, after I get home from work, that I sit out there and watch what's going on.
Used to be busy at one time, didn't it?
Used
Yeah.
to really
Years ago.
busy.
10 years ago, but
But it's, Ryan down there is really, see kids down there all the time playing back there, practicing ball, practicing, you know, just running around swinging and stuff.
I see kids playing on the church roof.
I mean, that's where I've seen a lot of activities.
That's all I can see in my back window.
internally, staff, we've talked about a couple of different options, like basically adding on to the back of Douglas Park building, putting in a couple of restrooms there, and then putting a splash pad there. It's sort of a centralized park in the city where it can draw people in. We have existing restrooms at Greenwald Park where we could put a splash pad there and not have to put in restrooms. And then the trail and possibly a larger playground structure at Kiwanis.
What kind of liability is there on a splash pad to the city?
You through the MML, you've got coverage there. I know, and the Rotary that I'm in Coldwater funded the splash pad over there. And one of the questions that was asked was, does the city's MML insurance policy cover liability? And we were told yes. So you've got your insurance for MML, so, yeah, there's always potential liability, but as long as you maintain it, it should be fine.
So if somebody gets hurt on that, then, I mean, the city's not liable for.
Well, the city's liable, but you got insurance coverage for it.
Correct, okay. Alright.
Now, in the walking path, I almost feel we have to have a pretty good plan in place to make, cause you gotta have a full circle for them to really work.
Yeah, so Albers Road area and Raymond, Sherman is where you're gonna want sidewalk connecting to the trail. That's the starting and ending point, or starting point on each side, is where you're gonna want it connected for sure with sidewalk, as there isn't sidewalk on either of those streets currently. So that would need to be part of the project, I would say.
You're not talking a path all the way around the city, you're talking,
Well,
because you.
I mean, you got a starting point and a stopping point, and really you'd have no way to exit to,
Yeah, when you get to
you don't have a
Albert's,
loop at all.
Right, but as far as, but like he's saying, as long as you're putting the sidewalks that get you to a street or get you out from where you're at, that's what you're talking about as far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
we just can't have them dump off into the
Yeah,
street.
no, understood, yeah, understood.
They could just keep going back and forth.
Well, you could always make a double loop in it, but, you know, you can say hi to everybody going each way.
Put a line down the middle.
Now, when you submit this, you need to submit and tell them one project, two projects, you're putting, ranking in order, how do you have to go about doing this?
You're gonna pick one. You can submit more, but the amount of people that are applying
Right.
and the amount of money that's available, you just wanna go with one project. And, this doesn't have a match, but I think we should put, that we're gonna put a match with it. Just because it's probably gonna help us score better, or have a better chance at it. It's not required, but I think it would help our chances. And then, there's also the DNR grants that we can apply for. I was thinking if we were able to get this Spark grant, then next time the trust fund grant's available, we can apply for our second project, or we can apply for the first project again.
So you're asking whether or not we should go about and apply for this, and then which project to apply for? Is that what you're trying to get information on right now?
Yeah, basically which project we wanna submit an application for, and then I would get pricing on putting a plan together and then submission of that
so
grant.
we don't have an idea of what the plan's gonna cost, that would come back once we decide the project.
Yes, I talked to Brian Newhoff and they're about $7,500, which that can be reimbursed through the grant for this project, for the Spark grant, I should say.
Well, I think, I mean, just looking at this, personally, I think the walking path, the bike path is probably the direction to go. Otherwise, why would we have a survey out there if we're not gonna go with what, the community wants? If majority on that is what that is, I think that's the direction we should head. And that's just my opinion.
Well, we got it, we might as well utilize it.
That's where I was going with that too, actually. I like that better than having the splash pad, cause then it's gonna cost them a lot more work. You know, in the long run. You don't know.
Getting this path open and cleared is not gonna be.
No,
that
but it'd be
easy.
a one time, once you get it open and cleared, you know, I think it'd be a
We've
good.
sort of maintained it already, so, I mean, it's just a dirt path right now.
What's your feeling, Joe? I feel pretty comfortable with that.
Oh, I'd love to see that,
You can see that?
man. I think it'd be super easy to maintain.
I could see we're gonna need to maintain it back quite a ways too, so that it's all visible.
I do know that, there is fiber optic that runs in that, so as far as ripping trees out and all that stuff would be a pain. I mean, it's kinda gonna be a clear cut to the ground and try to keep it mowed with brush hog or something. There's really no digging to be done down through there, so.
Do you think that, you guys wouldn't have too big of a deal for you?
No, I mean, just, you know, is it something in the winter you're gonna want the snow plowed on so people can walk in the winter?
You know, deal with that when it comes to that.
I mean, just,
Probably wouldn't get that much use to really to,
I don't see a lot of people walking in the winter, there's a few.
no, I don't know if it'd
If
be.
you have a designated trail, you might.
you know, nice sunny day, 40 degrees out, snow on the ground. we don't
Help
have
keep them out of the streets because they don't want to seem to walk on the sidewalks, so they walk in the streets.
Make a sidewalk that looks like a
Well, if
street.
you're, that's something that you're comfortable with and feel that way, I'm pretty happy with that idea.
Be a lot easier to maintain than a splash pad.
That's what I wondered, yeah. I go with that.
Any other questions?
No.
The only thing I would say is, I would assume they'd put something so that people can't get vehicles on it.
But you also wanna make it accessible to fire and EMS in case somebody gets hurt on it.
Yeah,
You could gate it.
or you could have those removable poles too.
I think you put a
Since
key
Shawana's
on
got it set up
with
right
a
now, but
knock spot key, and that way EMS and police have access to it.
they got it set up so where you only can enter about the width of a bike. They'd be parking elsewhere, but you can't get a vehicle through there.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean motorcycle isn't gonna make it.
It'll be posted as non-motorized.
Yeah.
More revenue, right, Steve?
Well, why don't you put an ordinance out that has penalties with dollar figures? Then yeah.
No, Joe, I think that's where we should go.
The next item, Industrial Avenue Farmland Lease Agreement, or Amendment, excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. With the sale of 2.86 acres of the city's Industrial Avenue property to Crown Kite Vault, the city needs to amend the lease agreement with Against the Grain Farms to farm this area. The initial lease covered around 15 acres. The new total would be 12.14 acres. The rate of $100 an acre would remain the same. So the total annual payment, which is spread out into 2 different payments, the total would be $1,200, $1,214. So I recommend approval of the lease amendment and to authorize the city manager to sign the agreement.
Questions?
No.
I'd make a motion to approve the lease and have Brandon sign it.
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, that's all.
City-owned vehicle and equipment list.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. At the December meeting, council requested, actually the January meeting, council requested I provide a list of city hall vehicles. I have that in a spreadsheet in your packet. It's sort of a simplified version of the motor pool worksheet that we use internally for the budget each year. This inventory also helps us assign costs to charge back to each department for the vehicle equipment use. And those fees go into the motor pool fund to fund the replacement of vehicles and equipment. Are there any questions on it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve the CEDAM fellowship agreement.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. In order to host the Community Economic Development Association of Michigan Fellow, the city needs to approve the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, that's in your packet. The city attorney reviewed the document and provided some comments to me, which I addressed in the CETO. This needs to be approved and submitted tomorrow, so I'm recommending approval of the MOU, as this fellowship will be a major benefit to the community. Anybody have any questions on that?
The only question I had when I read it is, they said they can cancel the contract if the fellow just decides to quit and leave, and there's no money back. It's basically, so if he's here for 2 months and he decides he doesn't like being in Bronson, he can just quit, go away. Does that mean he drops out of their program entirely, or does he just drop out of Bronson and go back to something else?
I think they would just drop them from CETO and then.
So I just don't want somebody to come in and have to spend 10 grand and him decide after 2 months, well, Bronson sucks, I wanna go somewhere else, and he just quits here and, you know, takes a fellowship at another place.
Right.
And we're out the money because it says it's non-refundable if he quits.
I'll talk to them about that. I think I'm sure they're probably willing to work with us to help us find a different person.
I don't wanna spend 10 grand on
Right.
taxpayers' money and.
Especially when it's not refundable.
Right.
Yep, I'll talk to them about that and follow up.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that?
No, that was the only thing that I saw that really concerned me.
Do we have a motion to approve pending your findings? I believe that's how we should probably do that, right?
You can just make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding and have me sign it.
I'll make a motion to approve the support.
All in favor?
Alright, we're good.
Opposed? All right, city staff comments.
Joe, it's free to speak up, buddy.
Oh, I've been busy getting the CDL, so. Nothing fun and, oh yeah, love it. Especially with the new requirement.
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
You guys doing pretty good with all your, getting all your help in now? You got,
Working on it.
right?
So we had our preliminary budget meeting this last week. Our budget that was presented to the fire board would have a 3% increase, which I think was very fiscally responsible and conservative. The line items that we're looking at increasing would be fuel, because we're gonna be over budget on that line item for sure. Pay for the medical first responders. Our call volume on medicals is running pretty flat since the pandemic's ramped down. But however, we're getting more people medically licensed, which is a good thing, so that line item will go up a little bit. And also new equipment, there's some things that we need that have expired. We're gonna try to chase down some grants, but if those grants do not come to fruition, we're gonna have to budget for those items. So we're at 24 firefighters right now, 12 of which are medically licensed. Call volume, like I said, is pretty flat, but things are going well. Safety net ambulance, I'm sure you've all seen it sitting there. We've been into that for 6 weeks now. We are activated by Life Care when they don't have a unit readily available. The good news is in the last 6 weeks, we've only been activated once. We do take the ambulance on all of our priority 1 medicals because we're already going anyways. And if we get there and we decide we need the ambulance, it is available. There's also some medication that we can carry on the ambulance because we're under Life Care's license. That's above and beyond what we can carry in our own rescue because our license is the step under what Life Care's is. So it's going very well. The good news is Life Care's paying for the fuel, so if that's all we take, actually we're seeing a small financial benefit from it. So, other than barring any questions, that's all I have for you.
I have one question for you.
Yes.
For Coldwater, for the fire department, the hospital provides blankets for them to carry in the rigs. Is that something that would benefit Bronson? Basically because they wrap the patient in them, they go to the hospital, we get them back anyway.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. We do have blankets in the ambulance, and we actually got about 4 skids of equipment from the state of Michigan. They had all the equipment from during the pandemic that they were going to use for temporary and mobile hospitals, we put in a request for that, we got about 4 skids of stuff, so I actually got 1 skid of blankets and towels, which is great, but I appreciate the offer, and if we do end up needing something, I'll let you know. Thank you.
I mean, we do it for the other ones, cause they end up back in our bins anyway.
Yes.
Is there anything other than open comments?
Nope. That's all I had.
City manager comments, Brandon?
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. I'll just mention that we have a special meeting for the planning commission set up for February 23rd at 6 o'clock for the purpose of hearing public comment on urban chickens and for the commission to review the issue and make recommendations to council. And then in the future, I'll be bringing you some proposals on making repairs to the DPW South Barn. It's in need of quite a few repairs to keep that building up going, so that's all I have.
Council comments. Bill?
Welcome, Frank. I knew there was something that I didn't want to forget. It's good to see you here, and actually, we got a lot of new faces in our community, in our leadership stuff going on. I've heard that the fire board has a lot of new people.
Correct.
That's cool. And we got Joe, we got Frank, Steve's.
I'm still here.
So it's fun to see, you know, fresh, new faces and stuff, so thanks to everybody for that. Fresh.
My big, short, I wish we could get our public, our community people that they have their differences, you know, police department, DPW, us, mainly us. I wish we could get them, somehow to get them to come in and sit down and talk with us, you know what I mean? And not complain and go individual like Lori and, you know, Karen, they take a beating, Brandon, you know, they have to hear it all. People complain, you guys, and I wish there was some way we could just bring the community together and understand that what we're trying to do here is work with them and try to help them, but they need to do the same back to us and not be out there just mad and, you know, or coming, like I had one come to my house, you know, a while back, mad. You know, like, well, come to our meeting. Well, I ain't doing that. You know, it's so hard to do our job without having, we can't do it perfect. We can't please everybody, you know? We do the best. You guys do a great job. I know you take some beef sometimes too. You know, so I just wish we could. I think we'll pull that together.
Frank, congratulations.
Thank
Glad
you.
you're on board. We had talked about speed signs, electronic boards on both sides of town on 12. And it was said that we'd bring it back up and after the first year, I'm bringing it back up. I still would like to see that. So, it's up to you guys whether you want to have Brandon go through that again or not.
Was that just a one-time grant that we were not able to get? Is that like a yearly thing? Is that coming up again by chance?
Yes. Yeah, it's coming up here in about 6 weeks. It's the AAA Traffic Safety Grant.
Yeah, which I understand is very hard to get.
It is a difficult one.
Would you say there's maybe one in each state?
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 each in each state.
Now, is there anything that you apply for on that, so
We-
we would be competing?
I don't think we would be competing necessarily, being a municipality and a fire department. We're planning on doing airbags again, because ours are expired. It's what, if someone was trapped underneath a piece of machinery or a car, it's what we use to lift it. And those need to be replaced at 10 years. So we'll be writing that again, but Brandon asked me that last go around, are you okay with me putting in? Do you think that, because he didn't wanna have that happen, and I think it's apples and oranges. I don't think we'd be in the same category.
Now, I got a question. We talked about going ahead and doing it anyhow. Would it help if or did we try to do a match with that, or I don't remember?
I think they were only gonna cover a certain amount.
That's what I was
Right.
thinking.
I can't
We had
remember
to
off
cover
the top
part
of
of
my
it.
head. Yeah, and I mean, you can, I think that grant, we asked for 3 of them. One in each direction on 12, and then the third one that we can move around. We can do a smaller amount, if you just want 2 on 12, or start with that.
What makes more sense, portable, that can be moved, or, I guess I'm looking at Steve here for kind of guidance, what makes more sense on one of those, something that's.
Having one movable was always a benefit, but I see a lot of them in the Coldwater, other surrounding communities. They're stationary, the 2 ends of town. Now whether they have a mobile one or not, I don't know. But people just seeing their speeds. The first thing you do is look down and see how fast they're going. They're like, oh, I'm speeding, so they're effective. By having a portable one that we could stick down on a side street, especially like Wayne Street, that's always been an issue just because the road's so wide and it's wide open. Cars seem to fly down there. So when we did have the ones that we had working, we used to put them down Grant Street around the schools and stuff like that, and they were beneficial. So I think if we had any of them, we at least need to have one mobile.
How much were those?
I think that's why we initially looked at 3, 2 permanents and a mobile.
That's what
I
I think we
think
should
it
look
was
at.
about 11,000 for 3 of them, and they suggested buying the solar units with extra brackets. So you could just install the brackets in a couple spots where you wanna check on occasion, and then they're actually really easy to move. They'd all be portable, just setting up the bracket.
Were those batteries, how long were those? Any idea?
It would run on solar,
Also,
I'd have to check on the battery life of those.
How about if we get a cost for one mobile and maybe a couple brackets, 3 brackets?
Cut the price down, so.
And even if we did one, if we want 3 or 4, do one every year for the next 4 years or something.
Mhm.
Well, that's-
Cut it up budget easier too.
We had two mobile ones that are many years old, and they're just they're shot. The LED boards and stuff are gone, and only about half the lettering is lighting up anymore. And
Well, I'm thinking
we've
if we
we've
get-
put them out to pasture.
If we get brackets and we buy one, we can always apply for the grant again, and if we get lucky and we get 3,
So
or
we'll have more.
apply for 2, put them on 12.
don't you notice the vehicles going by your house all the time?
Oh, I do.
No,
see-
he's
I
out,
really
he's looking
think-
at the park.
I really think we need 2 permanent ones on 12. I really believe that.
And we start out small, and build,
Because
and then see where the grant can take us,
it's ridiculous at times.
I saw one
Not
last night.
putting
that
it,
was-
showing
No,
anything
it just-
there.
How many thousands of cars come through town every day?
Yeah.
A lot.
Your spot down there at 12 and, right there where the school flashing sign is.
Ruggles?
Ruggles, thank you. And then again down at 12 in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
down
the
there.
two
Kid
good spots.
crossings anyways, those would be great places to put 'em.
They run Ruggles hard down there, I know that.
You see people coming into town and sometimes they don't slow down until they get right at the business section.
I can bring it back with the 2 units, and then we can decide if we want 1 or 2.
You do that and still put a grant out, so you can get to help pay for something.
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think, man?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to dish all that.
Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Welcome aboard.
Yep.
Great to have you. Joe, good job. Brandon, good job. You're doing great things. I think we're making headway in the right direction, so.
Glad to hear it. Thank you.
Other than that, I'm happy for the sunshine. I love it.
No snow.
I was getting the winter blues. It was starting to get me.
It's Michigan, just wait a day or two, it'll come back.
I know.
It's supposed to be 50 tomorrow, so we'll
At
take
least
it.
I get a reprieve for a couple days.
We're gonna be so depressed when it snows.
Brett, congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. I'm not gonna lie, I see you walk by, I thought you were somebody else, one of your other reserves.
Oh,
What I initially-
that's why I want him to come to the meeting.
Yeah.
I know it.
Joe, I hope things are settling down for you a little bit, settling in to what you're doing there. Again, I know a lot of things are going on, behind the scenes. It's getting up to that time to where we'll be working on the budget and everything else, so, you know, I appreciate everything that Brandon, Lori, Karen are doing behind the scenes, so, with that, do we
I'll
have
just, if I could just add that
Yeah.
it's a team effort with everybody in the city, which is, I just wanna say that. That everybody plays a huge part in where we're headed.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make it.
I'll support it.
Wait, Larry.